There are those among us who, from an early age, are beckoned not by the noises of the world, but by the subtle murmurings of the soul. If you have ever felt an inner voice whispering to you in silence, nudging you away from conformity and towards something unknown and profound, know that you are not alone. This voice, faint yet persistent, is the first sign that your soul belongs not merely to the collective, but to the deeper unconscious where truths beyond time reside. This inner voice does not speak in commands, but in feelings, images, and dreams. It is often drowned out by the clamor of expectation, the pressure to become what others wish us to be. Yet, those whose souls are truly special cannot ignore it for long. For them, this inner stirring becomes unbearable if denied. They suffer not from outer lack, but from inner suppression. To follow this voice requires great courage. It is a solitary path, one that demands you face yourself, stripped of all masks. But it is also a path to individuation, to becoming what you truly are. The individual who hears and follows this call walks a road not paved by society, but carved by their own spirit. This is not arrogance, it is destiny. And if this resonates with you, if you've ever felt that deeper pull within, the kind that words can scarcely express, consider subscribing to this channel. Let us walk this path of meaning together, drawing from the wellspring of inner wisdom. Many believe that to be alone is to be lonely, but the truly individuated soul knows that solitude is not a punishment, it is a necessity. When the soul is truly special, it yearns not for the noise of crowds, but for the depth of silence. In solitude, one does not escape the world, but rather meets it more intimately through the lens of one's own psyche. The person drawn to solitude often does not choose it from disdain, but from instinct. The outer world may seem too shallow for the depths they carry within. In silence, their thoughts arrange themselves like constellations, forming archetypal patterns and messages from the unconscious. It is here, away from the superficial, that the truly special soul begins to understand its true self. There is a sacred kind of aloneness that fosters inner growth. When we are not distracted by others, we can confront our shadow, our fears, our forgotten desires. And in this confrontation, we do not break, we are rebuilt. The soul that embraces solitude walks closer to its essence, to its mythic destiny. If you find value in these reflections, I invite you to subscribe. This space is for those who understand that solitude is not emptiness, it is where the self begins to sing. To the uninitiated, a dream is but a shadow of waking life. But to the awakened soul, dreams are messengers from the deep. The special soul receives dreams not as fragments, but as symbols rich with meaning, often mysterious, but always potent. These dreams are not random, they are revelations in disguise. The unconscious speaks a language older than speech, using images and stories that pierce through logic and strike at the heart of our being. Those who dream vividly, or who awaken disturbed, yet strangely enlightened, are often in communion with parts of themselves yet to be known. Dreams are not illusions, they are realities in another form. To engage with dreams is to engage with the soul itself. A truly special soul not only remembers their dreams, but reflects upon them, studies them, records them. They know that what seems fantastical may in fact be more real than waking life. Such individuals are often led by their dreams toward transformation. If you are one who dreams deeply and feels the call to understand what lies beneath, then you are not alone. Join us here, subscribe, and stay close to the dialogue between soul and symbol. There are those who cannot walk past suffering without feeling it in their bones. They may try to shield themselves, to harden their hearts, but the truly special soul remains open, painfully open. This is not weakness, it is strength in its most fragile form. Empathy, when genuine, is the soul's recognition of itself in another. Those with special souls are often healers, even when they have no title. They are drawn to those who are broken, not to fix them, but to sit beside them in the dark. Their presence alone is balm, for they carry within them a knowledge that pain is not meaningless, but a gateway to depth and growth. This sensitivity is not always easy. The world can be cruel to those who feel too much, but the soul that carries this gift has the potential to become a light in a very dark world. Their tears are sacred, and their compassion is revolutionary. They are proof that kindness is a force of nature. If you feel the pain of others as your own, if you've ever wept not just for yourself but for the world, then you are among kindred spirits. Subscribe and let this be your sanctuary, where depth is honored and pain transformed. The truly special soul does not find satisfaction in material explanations alone. They are drawn to the unseen, the symbolic, the mystical. While others chase certainty, this soul is intrigued by mystery. They understand that truth is often cloaked in paradox, and that what is most real may also be most invisible. Mystics throughout history have walked the path of inner revelation. They speak in symbols because the language of the divine is not linear. If you are one who sees meaning in numbers, in synchronicity, in recurring signs, then you too walk the path of the mystic. This path is not new, it is ancient, and it has called to you across lifetimes. To embrace the mystical is not to reject reason, but to transcend its limits. It is to believe that life is more than a sum of parts, that the soul has a reason for being here, and that the universe whispers if we are quiet enough to listen. This knowing sets the special soul apart not as superior, but as receptive. Are you someone who finds sacredness in the stars, in dreams, in the strange coincidences that feel more like destiny? Then subscribe and walk this symbolic road with others who also seek the numinous. There are some who walk through life with a quiet ache, a sense that something is missing not in the outer world, but in the fabric of their own existence. This restlessness is not resolved by new experiences or possessions. It is not a hunger for more, but a yearning for meaning. The special soul knows this disquiet intimately, for it is often the very catalyst of their journey inward. This unnamed longing is not a flaw, but a feature. It is the soul's way of announcing that it is awake. Where others find comfort in routine, this type of individual seeks the unfamiliar, the unseen. The comfort of the known becomes a prison, and only through exploration of ideas, symbols, and inner landscape scan, they breathe freely. Those who are restless in spirit often find themselves misunderstood. Why can't you just be content? The world asks. But contentment, to the special soul, is not the same as truth. They are compelled not by desire, but by destiny. This inner ache is their compass, guiding them toward wholeness, toward individuation. And when they follow it, they begin to recognize that what they seek is not outside of them, but within. This is the paradox of the journey. What appears as a wandering is in truth a return. To walk among trees, to stand beside water, to feel the wind and weep without reason, these are the sacraments of the special soul. While society moves ever faster, the soul attuned to nature feels its heartbeat slow in the presence of the earth. There is recognition here, a remembering. The trees speak, not in words, but in symbols. The natural world is not scenery, it is spirit. It reflects to us our own rhythms, our forgotten cycles. A truly awakened soul feels this connection not as metaphor but as reality. They see the seasons as mirrors of their own transformation, the blooming, the decay, the rebirth. This connection is not always comfortable. When the earth suffers, the special soul feels it viscerally. They may not always know why they cry at a dying forest or feel joy in the flight of a bird, but their soul knows. It speaks in a language deeper than thought. To those who feel this connection deeply, honor it. You are not simply sensitive, you are awake. And your awakening is not for you alone, it is the earth remembering itself through you. Symbols are the language of the unconscious. They are the bridges between the known and the unknown. The special soul is naturally drawn to myth, not because it is fantasy, but because it is truth in symbolic form. Where others see story, this soul sees revelation. There is a particular joy that arises when one begins to understand that ancient myths are not relics of a forgotten age, but reflections of our inner reality. To feel moved by the tale of Prometheus or haunted by the labyrinth of the Minotaur is not immaturity, it is initiation. These myths live within us. The special soul collects symbols the way others collect facts. They know that the serpent is not just a creature, but an archetype. That fire is not just light, but transformation. And when they begin to interpret their dreams through this symbolic lens, they awaken to the true mystery of their being. This love for myth is a calling to become the hero of one's own story, to descend, to struggle, to rise anew. If you've ever cried over a story you couldn't explain or felt a myth speak directly to your life, you are on the path. The story is not outside of you. You are the story. The ordinary world often feels like a thin veil to those whose souls are special. They can be in a crowded room and feel distant, not because they are aloof, but because their attention is turned inward toward a world more vivid, more real. Their imagination is not escape, it's sacred territory. This inner world is populated not by fantasy, but by archetypes, memories, shadows, and guiding figures. For some, it is through art or writing that this world is expressed. For others, it remains private, a hidden sanctuary where meaning is distilled and dreams are born. To live primarily in this inner world can sometimes feel like a curse. The outer world may not understand the depth you carry, the conversations you have with yourself, the way you process life through symbolism and reflection. But make no mistake, this is not weakness. It is the soil of great transformation. For those who find their richest experiences not in crowds but in contemplation, not in facts but in truths, felt your soul is not lost. It is simply in tune with something the world has forgotten. Every soul, no matter how luminous, carries a shadow. The special soul does not run from it, they turn to face it. This confrontation is painful, for the shadow contains everything we wish to deny. Our rage, our envy, our wounds. But to turn away is to remain divided. To look into the shadow is to begin the work of integration. Jung taught us that the shadow, once faced, becomes a source of power. It is not the enemy. It is the part of us exiled by society, repressed by fear. And when the special soul begins to reclaim these lost aspects, they become more whole, more dangerous, perhaps, but also more true. This work is not linear. It is not finished in a day. It is a cycle, repeated again and again. Each encounter with the shadow peels back another layer of illusion, and in its place grows authenticity. The special soul becomes less pleasing, but more alive. Those who do this work are rare, for it requires courage and honesty. But they are also necessary, for only the integrated can truly help others heal. The shadow is not to be feared, it is to be befriended. Those with truly special souls are often drawn, in some way, to healing. It may not always manifest as a profession, but it is a posture of the heart. They see beyond wounds into what caused them. Their presence has a strange way of making others feel seen, safe, understood. This desire is not born from superiority, but from identification. They have known pain intimately and thus recognize it in others. They do not offer quick fixes or empty reassurances. Instead, they offer space, a rare and sacred thing in this world. Their healing is not always visible, but it is felt deeply. To heal others is to walk with them through their darkness. It is not to pull them into the light prematurely, but to sit beside them, to bear witness. The special soul understands that healing is not about restoring what once was, but helping others become what they were always meant to be. And in doing so, the healer is also healed. For every act of presence, every moment of compassion reflects back upon the giver. The soul that helps others on their journey never returns. Unchanged, it grows, it deepens, it shines. Beneath every question, every pursuit, every transformation lies a single desire: to become whole. The special soul may seek success, love, knowledge, but all of it is in service to something greater: union with the self. This self is not ego, it is not identity. It is the divine core, the eternal spark that is both you and beyond you. This longing does not feel like ambition. It feels like a spiritual pull, like gravity from within. The world may offer distractions, but they are not satisfying. Only when the soul turns inward toward its deepest truths does it begin to feel alignment. This alignment is rare but unmistakable. When it occurs, it feels like everything is in its rightful place. To unite with the self is the final aim of individuation. It is not a destination, but a becoming. One does not achieve it through perfection, but through acceptance of light and shadow, of joy and pain. The special soul learns that true power lies not in control, but in integration. Those who seek this path may appear restless, unconventional, or even misunderstood, but their journey is the most sacred of all. It is the hero's journey, and they are both the seeker and the treasure they are seeking. The special soul often feels chosen, but not by society, and not for fame. Rather, they feel chosen by something ancient and invisible, as if their life is not random but purposeful. This sense of destiny is not rooted in ego. It does not scream for attention. It whispers, gently but insistently, "There is something you must do." This feeling does not demand grandiosity. It can manifest in the quiet work of art, in the raising of a child, in a life of reflection. Destiny is not always dramatic. Often it is humble. But to the one who feels it, it is non-negotiable. They must live it, feel the ache of its absence. The special soul does not need to be told who they are. Deep within, they already know. But this knowledge is not always clear. It must be uncovered, earned, through trial and initiation. The path is often dark, but also luminous. Those who walk it become maps for others. And so, this feeling of destiny is both burden and blessing. It isolates, but it also ignites. It demands much, but it gives more. The soul that says yes to this call becomes not just a person, but a living symbol of what is possible. Most people resist change, but the special soul invites it even when it is painful. They understand that transformation is not a choice, but a necessity. To remain the same is to stagnate. To evolve is to become. This willingness to be changed is one of the greatest signs of a soul destined for depth. Transformation is rarely graceful. It involves ego, death, letting go of what once defined us. It means walking through fire and coming out the other side, stripped, raw, reborn. But the special soul knows that this pain is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the labor of the true self coming forth. There are moments when everything familiar falls away. The job is lost, the relationship ends, the identity crumbles. And in those moments, the world may seem cruel. But the special soul does not interpret this as destruction. They know the archetype of the phoenix. They know that rebirth demands ashes. And so, they surrender not as victims, but as alchemists. They allow life to mold them, trusting that what remains will be truer, purer, more essential. This is not passivity. It is sacred receptivity. It is the ultimate strength. Perhaps the greatest sign of all is this: a quiet knowing. It may not be loud. It may not have words. But it is there still, small voice within that says, you are meant for something more. This knowing does not demand evidence, it simply is. It exists like breath, subtle, invisible, but undeniable. The special soul lives by this knowing. It is their compass, even when others cannot see the path. They may be questioned, doubted, even mocked, but they do not waver, because this knowing is not external, it is woven into the very threads of their being. To possess this knowing is both a gift and a weight. It separates, but also binds. It calls you away from what is easy, toward what is real. And in this calling, there is a sense of peace, not because the road is smooth, but because it is true. If these words have touched something in you, if this voice feels familiar, then perhaps you are not hearing me, perhaps you are hearing yourself. And if that is the case, I invite you gently, without pressure, to subscribe, not because I seek numbers, but because I seek companions, fellow travelers on this mysterious path of soul,